to be with you today and remind you about a few things that are very important, especially when you're carrying pain in your life. So, Father, thank you today for what we're going to learn and how we can use it for the benefit of others. You know, I've discovered that not everyone who has been broken actually uses their pain as a weapon. You see, unfortunately, we discover that, pain can actually be a vessel and a means not to be bitter, but to actually be better. Unfortunately, life from time to time gives us what we would call lemons. And one person put it this way: you can turn your lemon into lemonade. It just depends on how you deal with it. I want to tell you something. Very simply, this: if you want to turn your pain away from a weapon and into something that benefits other, it all depends on your attitude. That's right. Your attitude can change a terrible situation into a stepping stone. That's important. Secondly, walking in forgiveness and in unconditional love. You know, there is a powerful statement that Jesus made that went like this: do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Now, that is a real challenge these days because so many people are more and more focusing on themselves. Unfortunately, one of the vehicles in which that actually happens is social media. Today, of course, I'm on social media. And today I'm talking to you. And I'm telling you that there are certain principles and certain things that you and I can do that can turn a situation around. Yes, bad things happen to us. Not everything that happens to us is good. Let me share a little story with you. Yesterday, my wife and I were sitting in our home, and all of a sudden, a my dog, who was laying beside my wife, there was a flea that jumped onto my wife, and instantaneously it put us into a mode where we had to clean our dogs and we had to clean our house. It all started about noon, and by 10 o'clock, we had completely cleaned the dogs. We had completely cleaned the house. We had to do all of our laundry and all of those things that were necessary to be able to stop an infestation of fleas. It was not fun, especially when you had to, do two Labradors. And the interesting thing about these Labradors is instead of loving water, they actually do not like water. So I thought that was very interesting. And life can be very complicated at times. But you see, having a positive attitude can change the situation around. Instead of being, upset over the situation, my wife and I instantaneously responded to the situation. And today, of course, I can laugh about it, especially when we were trying to wash those Labradors last night. One of them weighs 100 pounds, and he wanted to come out of that bathtub so bad. He didn't have the fleas. It was our other Labrador that actually had them. And he didn't want to go in the water either. So here we are wrestling these two Labradors. And I look at it now with a rather humorous view. But last night, I wasn't exactly looking at it that way. Well, you see, life can be unpredictable. But when you understand that on the other side, you can actually use it as a lesson. You see, some people carry their wounds quietly and spend their entire lives making sure that no one else feels the pain that they felt. You know, there are many people out there that are doing incredible things. When I was thinking of one of my favorite heroes of the faith, his name was um, was the founder of the Salvation Army. And he, his name was William Booth. There we are. William Booth grew up in poverty, and he didn't want to have anyone else go through the poverty that he went. So he organized an organization called the Salvation Army. Today, of course, the Salvation Army is in almost every country around the world. And when there is a disaster, they're usually the first people on the ground. Let me tell you a little bit of story. My father was in World War, and he saw firsthand how the Salvation Army was there for the soldiers, how that they were there for people who were dealing with the pain and the sorrow and all the things that happened during World War II. When my dad came back, and my dad was not a Christian man at all, but my dad, whenever he spoke about the Salvation Army, he said that's an organization that really does something for people. And he had only the highest and also as well respect for the Salvation Army. How did it all start? William Booth turned his pain and turned his wounds quietly and spent the rest of his life helping others, but not only helping others, forming an organization that would help people around the world. I've had the privilege of working with the Salvation Army in many different ways and in many different places. And once again, I hold them in the highest regards because they are a group of people who have turned their wounds and made their lives so that no one else would have to feel the pain that they have felt. There are many different organizations like food banks, and I've had the privilege of working with different food banks. And people who are working in those food banks are there volunteering their time, volunteering their energy. Why? Because they don't want other people to feel the hunger in their stomachs that they have felt. It's called giving back, paying forward, whatever you want to call it. That's what you and I should be doing. Yes, we feel pain from time to time. Yes, life is not always fair to us from time to time, but we can turn that around and we can use it for the benefit of others. You see, they don't pass their pain forward. They don't use their pain as a weapon. We've all met people who have been hurt. And whenever you talk to them, all they talk about is that hurt. Years ago, I was in um, friendship for a while with a man who had been hurt by an organization. And every conversation that we had, he talked about that pain. One day I said, "You know, you're going to have to get over this pain." He says, "But they hurt me." I said, "I understand that. But you have to look past that. You need to grow past that." You see, some people will never get past their pain, and it colorizes everything that they do. So when bad things happen, you have a decision, and that decision is I am going to release this pain. I'm not going to let this thing colorize and also, as well, make me an individual that carries this pain all the time. I am going to choose to be better. I am not going to choose to be bitter. Now, that's not just a cliche, it's an actual mindset where you say to yourself, I'm going to stop this. I'm not going to hurt people just because I have been hurt. And I'm not going to, use this pain to, as a weapon. Instead, I'm going to use it as a platform to help others so that they do not have to face the same pain that I faced or face the same thing that I am, or I can be a blessing to them, giving them advice, giving them support as they go through this thing. You see, some people stay hurt, but some people actually heal the world because they decide that what they've gone through is going to be a vehicle and an avenue to help others. That's a decision that only you and I can make. You see, we can turn our pain and our sorrow, our bitterness, our, what has happened to us to actually be a wonderful way to help and bless others. That's a choice that we make. And one of the ways that we do it is walking in kindness, walking in love, and walking in forgiveness. Everyone gets hurt from time to time, but that doesn't mean that we have to stay hurt. What it means is that we can take that pain, we can take that sorrow, we can take that offense and use it as a vehicle to help others and to also heal others. I love this one particular phrase. I was watching just last week a movie called Much Ado About Nothing. It's a William Shakespeare play that was put, of course, into film. And in that particular scene, there has been a terrible thing that has happened. And I love how the protagonist, or one of the two protagonists, puts it. He says, love God, love me, and heal. What's he saying? He says, listen, the first avenue is walking in forgiveness and using godly view and mindset concerning this. He says, secondly, love others. Use that pain as an opportunity to love others. And thirdly, to be kind. And then he said, heal. What basically is saying is simply this: if you forgive and if you love others unconditionally, you're going to heal, because that healing is going to come in the way that you help others and show love to others. That is a wonderful philosophy. And William Shakespeare actually wrote that over 400 years ago. He got an idea here. He was a man who believed in the things of the Lord. And he lived in a time where people were strongly influenced by the Bible. And he simply said, you know what? If you're going to be healed, if you're going to be whole, then understand that you need to release that pain. You need to let it go. Just like my little granddaughter used to sing, let it go, let it go. That's what we need to do. And so today, use what has happened to you as a stepping stone to help others. Use it as an opportunity to make sure that other people do not have to go through what you had to go. Today, maybe go and help an organization that helps other. Maybe go down to your local food bank and volunteer your time. Maybe today, take some used item and take it down to a thrift store so that somebody else can benefit from what you have. Either way, use what you have and bless others, even the pain that has happened to you. And don't ever use it as a weapon. Use it to quietly spend your life making sure that no one else has to feel what you felt. Don't pass your pain forward. Stop it. Hurt people don't just hurt people, they can actually heal the world. You can use what has happened to you as a wonderful opportunity to touch others and bless others in ways that you never dreamed possible. Remember, kindness is something that costs us nothing, but it can touch others. I want to remind you about a statement. People will not always remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Let them feel love. Let them feel kindness. Let them feel compassion. Let them know that you care. Even the smallest little action could actually change someone's life. Father, thank you today for the opportunity to turn our pain into legacy and to help others. Let us do that today in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, my name is Robert Dean Steele. I want to remind you today that if you like what you've been hearing and seeing, press the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I want to thank all the people who have done that. We really appreciate that. Also, as well, check out my daily YouTube shorts. I did a series of them this morning, and I would love you to check those out today as well. They're always under about 1 minute, and they all contain one or two thoughts. And they are designed, of course, to brighten, enlighten, illuminate, and encourage your day. Thank you for joining me. Have yourself a great and godly day. And remember, not every person who has been broken uses their pain as a weapon. Some carry their wounds quietly and spend their entire lives making sure that no one else feels the pain that they felt. They don't pass it forward. They stop it. And hurt people don't always just hurt people. Some actually use their pain and what's happened to them to heal the world. You be that person.